We are now going to transition to the Imagery poem final draft. In order to complete the final draft, you will need to have completed yesterday's assignment that I assigned for you to do at home. If you did this assignment, you would have an Imagery poem rough draft already filled in to your poetry packet number 3. If you did not do yesterday's assignment at home, you will need to go back and do it. This means that you'll be heading back to Schoology. You'll be opening yesterday's assignment. And here we have the Imagery poem. You will need to watch the video here while filling in pages 4 through 6 in your poetry packet number 3. And it will take you step by step on how to prepare for your rough draft and then how to write it. Once you have watched this video, and you can wear earbuds or headphones, or you can turn the volume on your Chromebook really low to listen, and once you have completed the rough draft of your Imagery poem, then you're ready to move on to today's lesson. In today's lesson, you will be writing the final draft of your Imagery poem. You're going to use the rough draft that you already wrote in your poetry packet number 3 to fill out the attachment below using Cami. You'll then turn it in when done, and keep in mind that the final draft is officially due by midnight on Thursday. So when I open up the final draft with Cami, this is what I will see. I have the requirements highlighted here at the top. These are what will be used to grade your poem. And then you have room below to type in the final draft, keeping in mind that if your poem is extra long, there is a little extra space on the second page. So I'm going to look at my rough draft, and I'm going to start to transfer it over into the final draft, starting with the title. So the title of my poem was Warrior Dash. Then I'm going to start another text box so I can start typing the actual poem. So I look at my rough draft. It was the hardest thing I would ever do. So I'm going to type that first line into my final draft. At this point, I'm going to have to hit the enter button so that I can go to the second line, which is what I did in my rough draft. Then I will type the second line in. I hit enter and I can start the third line of my poem, and I'm going to continue this until the entire poem has been typed in to my final draft. Now I have my entire poem typed into my final draft. Now I can go back and make changes. I can add to it, I can subtract from it, or I could just tweak it a little bit. But before I submit this, I need to make sure that it meets the requirements. So I go back to the top and I double check. Did I include the important event that I focused on somewhere in my poem? I focused on the Warrior Dash, so I made sure the Warrior Dash is in the poem. The second requirement is to include vivid detailed descriptions of that event, and I had to appeal to at least 3 of the 5 senses. So I made sure that I described what that event sounded like. I described what it looked like, and I described what it felt like. Again, imagery isn't just saying that I see something, it's describing what I actually saw, or what something tasted like or sounded like, adding vivid details into your descriptions. So now I'm double checking the third requirement, my poem had to be 10 lines or more. So I started at the top and I counted, making sure I had at least 10 separate lines when I was done. And finally, I had to use 2 or more of these devices below. When I was writing my poem, I knew that I was going to use a simile, and I knew that I was going to use alliteration. So I'm going to double check. Oh, my simile's still there. I feel it ooze like viscous glue through my fingers. There's my comparison that uses like. And for my alliteration, I remember using tall, towers, and tangled. 3 words that repeated the T sound at the beginning. Now I know I've met all 4 requirements. I'm happy with my final draft, so I'm going to submit it by clicking Turn In, and it will take me back to Schoology so that I can hit Submit. I've now submitted the final draft of my imagery poem. Now that I've submitted, I know that I have until Thursday at midnight to submit my assignment in case I don't finish it today. And I know if I have any questions, I can ask Ms. Borkerding for help. Now we're going to transition into work time. If you did not do yesterday's assignment and write the rough draft in your poetry packet number 3, you do need to go back to yesterday's lesson in Schoology. You do need to watch my instructional video because you will need to fill out pages 4 through 6 in your packet number 3. Once you do have that rough draft written, you'll be able to continue to today's lesson, which is typing the final draft. It will be in today's Schoology folder, and keep in mind that this final draft is officially due Thursday by midnight. Now, if you finish the final draft and have time remaining at the end of class, you can work on your anchor unit or your independent novel. During work time, please respect the workspace volume. That means using headphones or earbuds if you're listening to the video, or keeping your volume low. Please stay focused on your schoolwork, and as always, keep your phones put away. At this time, you are free to take out your Chromebooks and poetry packet number 3 and get working.